G'day. Alright, I got this in the mail today. Cooper's Kit. Not your normal Cooper's Kit, they only started this a couple of months ago. I don't usually buy these sort of kits. I usually just buy the tins and go to the local home brew shop and you know, pick out what I want to put in it and make my own beers. But this one's called Hop Gobbler, so I thought I'd give it a try. Hops, love it. See what's in it, eh? I can open it. There we go. Oh, look. Nice hat. Isn't that nice? I don't think it's going to make my beer taste better though. Bottle opener. Just another one to add to the collection. Alright, what do we got? Starts with a Cooper's English bitter pre-hop can. I've never made this style before, but going to give it a go now. Comes with the usual yeast in the top. Doesn't seem to be any other yeast. I'll probably use a US-05 just because I've got some here. Just washed them actually. But alright, starts with that. You also get 1.5 kilo of amber malt extract. Cooper's. .500 grams of light dry malt. Not often I use Cooper's light dry malt either because it's expensive. I get it for about half the price of this. They're about $7 for 500 grams. I buy about 5 kilos for $40, so mine works out about $8 a kilo, and this is $7 for 500. But anyway, it's in the kit. .300 grams of choc malt. Now that's hasn't been cracked either, which is good for freshness, but that means I'll have to crack it myself. Get 25 grams of Golding's hops, pellets, and 25 grams of Fugel hop pellets. Fugels. That's it. But I was reading through the instructions on their website. There's a few things I don't like about what their instructions say if you do end up getting one of these kits. They say once you've cracked this, the chocolate malt, to boil water and add it to boiling water and let it cool down. Now, I don't like adding any grain to boiling water. It brings out horrible flavours. So I'll probably steep that at, I don't know, 65 degrees or something like that, centigrade, 70 degrees. You can also, another way people do it is they add it to cold water, heat it up on the stove really slowly until before it boils. You don't let it boil. And so that's what I'll be doing with that anyway. And the hops. They call it a Hop Gobbler beer, but they say to dry hop it all after a couple of days of fermentation. Now, that just, as far as I know, only gives aroma. So what I'll probably do is maybe 10 grams of each. When I'm boiling, after I've strained that, the chocolate malt from the chocolate malt tea, I'll boil it just to make sure it's sanitised as much as I can. And I'll probably add 10 grams of each of those to the boil to add some hop flavour, and then I'll dry hop the other 15 grams each for the aroma. But well, that's about all that's in the kit. I'll try to film some when I get it going. It's $55 Australian delivered. If you're a member of the Cooper's order on their website, which is free to enter, you can get it for $49.50 delivered, which isn't too bad. You know, if you're after a hat and one of their hats and key rings, it all adds up about right. First thing I'm going to do is take the 300 grams of chocolate malt, stick it in a big Ziploc bag like that, crush it with a rolling pin. It needs to be cracked to get the goodness out. You want to get the goodness out of the grain, but it needs to be cracked. So it's a simple, put them in the bag like that, lay them down, rolling pin, Make sure as matches it as you can. You want every one of them cracked if you can possibly do it. It's a little bit hard to check, but I won't show all of it. Now I've cracked all that, I'm going to stick it into 2 litres of cold water and bring it up to around 70 degrees. I'll stick the lid on and just leave it in the saucepan for half an hour, 40 minutes, give it a stir. I probably won't even check the temperature again, it'll be fine, it'll stay warm enough for that time as long as the lid's on it. Now that that's been sitting there for a good half an hour, steeping, I've stirred it a couple of times and I'm just going to strain it into my boil pot. Now I always get some stuck in the saucepan, but since we're going to rinse this with a little bit of hot water anyway, it's boiled, but it's not boiling, it's cooled down a little bit. Pour some more water in. Make sure your grains aren't going to fall out of your sieve. Give it a stir and pour the rest in. Now the next thing we're going to do is there's 2 litres I started with. We're going to lose some in the grain. So I want it up to about 3 litres in the pot. So I reckon if I put just over a litre, which is what's in this, then we should be right. And it just rinses the rest of the goodness out of those grains. You don't want boiling water though. That's it for the steeping part of it anyway. Excuse my baby's noises in the background. But, now next thing we have to do is boil it. What I'm going to do is boil this for maybe 5 minutes, and then I'm going to add, I've decided 5 grams of each Fugels and the Goldings, and boil them. Alright, now that's been boiling. That's just the choc malt tea. Has been boiling for about 6-7 minutes now, to be truthful. And I'm going to add 5 grams of each of the hops and boil it for 7 minutes, just to add some extra flavour to the beer. I set my phone for 7 minutes. That's been boiling now with the hops in it for about 7 minutes after I put the hops in. So what I do now is turn the heat off. I'll stir in this light dry malt with the heat off. 500 grams, and I'll put the pre-hop can in and the can of amber malt as well. Give it a good stir, and then we cool it down as best we can. I usually boil about 8 litres of water the night before for 20 minutes and then whack it in the fridge, sealed, and I use that to cool my wort down. It's easy for me and it works, it's never failed. Alright, I've put the dry malt in already. That's dissolved. This is the English bitter. I'll just pour that in. scrape down the sides. If you want to be really fussy, you can put some boiled water in there and swirl it around. I don't usually bother. I can scrape out most of it. It stirs in really easy. It's easier than doing it in the fermenter, I find. This is a 19 litre pot, but even now we're only up to about here. You can see that. Only down, not even a third full yet. Alright, that's stirred in. And here's the 1.5 kilo of amber malt. I do the same with that, stir it in. Scrape down the sides again. And basically that's it. You've got to be really careful from now. That's got to stay sanitised in there. So just stir it in. And now all you want to do is, however you do it, cool this down as fast as you can. As I said, I usually put in, I've got cold water in the fridge I'm going to put in. But that's not very exciting to show, it's just cold water. I just want to add another way I've cooled it down before is to get like an old 2 litre ice cream container or something like that, and add water, sanitise the container, and then add cold water to it. If your water's clean like ours is here, we can use our cold water straight from the tap. If not, boil it, stick it in the ice cream container and whack it in the freezer, and then you've got like a big ice block to cool down your cool it down with fast. Not a lot of people do that, but I've done it before without any worries at all. Right, the next thing to do after that cools down, I just pour it straight into the fermenter. Stick the lid on from here. And you want to top up to, well, this recipe says 25 litres. Most of them are around 23, but I'll top this one up to the 25, and as described in the instructions, just to see how it turns out. I'd stop around 20 litres, something like that. Just check the temperature and whether you have to add hot water or cold water to get it to your desired temp for your yeast, whatever yeast you're using. I'm going to use US 5. They're better brewed at around 18 to 20 degrees, these beers, but I don't mind starting a little high and letting them drop down. You're not supposed to do that, but it doesn't, I haven't had any effects from it at all. Alright, well that's about it. There isn't really much else I can do or tell you. It's not really an instructional video, it's more how I slightly modified this new Cooper's kit and to see how it turns out. I'll bottle it in a couple of weeks. I'll probably leave it in the primary. I don't bother with secondary anymore. I found it a waste of time. I don't have much time anymore because I have a baby. That was good, that was on cue. Yeah, so I'll bottle it after 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks I'll leave it. If it hasn't fermented by then, there's something wrong. I don't usually test it until then. I test it when I think it's going to be bottling day. You can, you know, if your final gravity isn't down by then there's something wrong. Yes, and that's how I go when there's something wrong. I get very crazy. But it doesn't happen that there's something wrong. It's very, very rarely. And that's about it. That's all I can say. Cheers and out.